This video will provide information on how to get ready for the diagnostic test. Now, before we go on, I just want to let you know that there is something called the Parent's Guide to LEAP 360. And in this Parent's Guide to LEAP 360, there's information on what is LEAP 360, discusses the different assessments that are in LEAP 360, discusses how you as a parent can use and view your child's results. And then there's information on the Family Support Toolbox that is on the Louisiana Department of Education website. So before we continue with this PowerPoint, let me just quickly show you what this parent's guide looks like. Okay, so it looks like this. So at the top of the page, it has what is Sleep 360. And so one of the things about it is that it provides teachers information on how to adjust instruction to meet all student needs. And then for parents, it provides information on how well their child is progressing towards their learning goals for the year. There's information on the diagnostic test, the interim test, and there are going to be 2 interim tests this year, and then information on Eagle, and then K2 formative assessments, and then what it is, when they're given, and who it's given to. So if you scroll down the page, you'll notice there's also information on how you as a parent can view and use the LEAP 360 results, questions you can ask teachers, and then at the bottom of the page are the links that you can use to get to the Family Support Toolbox on the Louisiana Department of Education website. Let's talk about the device now. So your child is using either a computer or a device such as an iPad or Chromebook. The Google Chrome must be the latest Google Chrome browser. So the diagnostic test and the interim test must be done using Google Chrome browser, and you must use the latest version of the Google Chrome browser. To download the latest version of Google Chrome, you go to this URL link, and then need at least 2 gigabytes of RAM memory, a screen size of at least 9.5 inches, and a screen resolution of 1024 by 768. Now, very quickly, I just wanted to show you how you can determine what version of Google Chrome browser you have. So one way, let me go ahead and go to Google Chrome. So I'm going to expand this. All right, so you see those 3 little dots? Let me just do it this way for right now. See those 3 little dots here? So if you click on it, you'll see Help. So you go to Help, and you see where it says About Google Chrome. So click on About Google Chrome, and let me go ahead and expand it a little so you can see this. So right here, it says what version of Google Chrome you have. So I have version 84. You need at least 83. So if your version is less than 83, you need to update the Google Chrome browser. All right, so that's how you can determine what version you have. So let me go ahead and go back to the PowerPoint. So we were on this part of the PowerPoint, so let's go to the next one. Okay, so there's going to be some important information I need to tell you. First of all, it is important that you verify that a computer or device works for the online tools training prior to taking the LEAP 360 test. So at the end of this video, there's information on the online tools training. And so one way to determine if your child's computer is ready to take the diagnostic test, you can use the online tools training to do that. Okay, let's talk about taking the test. So when a student takes the test remotely from school, so from home, your child's going to use this URL link right here. Lots of characters. This link is going to be sent to the student from either the teacher or the school, and all the student has to do is just click on this link. Now, I'm going to go ahead and click on this link. I'm going to have to get out of PowerPoint though. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of PowerPoint. When you click on this link, your child is going to have something that looks like this. So let me see if I can find where I put it. Okay, so it's going to look like this. And it's going to ask for a username or password. That username or password will come from the test ticket that your child will get from the teacher. So the username and password will come from the test ticket that the teacher will provide the student. All right, so and again, it's going to be this link right here that's going to be sent to the student from the teacher. All right, so let's go to the next slide. Okay, taking the test. So the student should have the following materials available before beginning the test. The test ticket, which is going to be provided by the teacher. And again, it's going to have the username and password, scratch paper, a pencil, calculator, and the calculator can only be used on certain parts of the math sessions. And there is a built-in calculator online. And as you go through the online tools training later on in this video, you're going to see where it's located. But depending on the grade level, not all test sessions for math are a calculator. So it's important that you follow the teacher's instructions when taking the math test or the ELA test. And then there's a math reference sheet. And you're going to see also when we get to the online training tools, the online tools training, where the math reference sheet is located. Students should enter the login credentials from the test ticket provided by their teacher. The students should then follow the on-screen instructions to complete their test. If a student needs a short break during the test administration, such as a bathroom break, they should click on the pause button. So there's a pause button at the bottom of each page of the test. A countdown will then appear on the screen, which keeps track of the time left before the system automatically exits the test. If the test is not resumed within 20 minutes, the students will be exited from the test automatically. However, the student can sign back in to finish the test using the original login credentials provided by their teacher. Parents, guardians, or other adults can assist the student during testing if they have difficulties with the testing device, if the student has trouble logging into the test, or if the student has questions about the test directions. However, they should not read the test questions or give clues or hints about the answer. The parent, guardian, or student should arrange for some time without interruptions before the student begins the test. Students should be encouraged to work in a quiet area without distractions. Most importantly, students should be reminded that it is okay if they don't know all the answers and that their best effort will help their teacher make plans for instruction. Okay, if you are having technical issues with testing, contact the school's teacher. So this link here where the student would click on to get to the test. So once the student clicks on that, remember the student would then see this part here. Okay? Okay, so once the student clicks on that, it puts the information, they'll get this page. And so you can have the name, the name, test session, school name, and LACID. There's the options part. We're going to discuss this when we get into the online tools training, but the options has color choices, contrasting color, reverse contrast, and this is located on every page of the test. And then there's also going to be a pause button when you start the test. There's a pause button somewhere at the bottom, and the student would pause if they need to go to the restroom or take a break. But let's go ahead and go to continue. So I'm going to go to continue. When you go to continue, there are 3 sessions listed. And this is the math part of the test. So there are 3 sessions. Need to listen to the teacher's instructions in terms of which sessions to do first. Normally it's session 1, session 2, session 3. Some of these sessions may involve a calculator, some may not. So again, it's important that you follow the teacher's instructions. And so you just go through all of the test sessions and then you're done. And then you work on the ELA test or whatever test you have to do next. All right, and so that is the end of this part of the video. So in the next portion of the video, that's where we're going to talk about the online testing, the online tools training. And you're going to use the online tools training to help you prepare for the diagnostic test, the LEAP 2025 test, and the interim test in terms of using those tools. The online tools training is used by teachers throughout Louisiana to help students practice for the LEAP 2025 test. There are several purposes of the OTT. First is that provides students practice with the different types of items which will be on the LEAP 2025 test. The second was that provides students with practice with the tools that will be available on those tests. Now, in terms of accessing the online tools training, there are about 6 things we need to look at. The first one is that, and that's important, is that the students must be using the Google Chrome browser, and it must be the latest version of the Google Chrome browser. And the student will need to go to this URL, and this link is provided to the students by the school or the teacher. The student will see the main menu, and to practice testing, the student should click on the online tools training that is located under the LEAP 2025 practice test banner. And then when we get to that point, when we actually go into the site, you will see the LEAP 2025 practice test banner. Number 3, this will open a list of tests, and these are practice tests that will not be scored, but they are similar to the actual tests that the students will take. Clicking on a test name will expand the list and provide a selection of levels. The back button in the lower right corner will take the student back to the main menu. Number 4, from the list, the students should select the grade level of the test that they would like to use for practice. The back button in the lower left corner will take the student back to the list of tests. Number 5, the student should enter the login credentials shown on the login page. The login credentials provided by the teacher for the test ticket should not be used to access the online tools training. So those are 2 different credentials. So the one that the teacher gives them for the test ticket does not go in the online tools training. Number 6, the student can try testing in different content areas. When the student finishes practice, they can use the back button on the list of tests page to return to the main menu. Okay, so let's go ahead now and take a look at the online tools training. So I'm going to go back to the URL that is provided by the teacher. And so I'm going to go ahead and click on this URL right here that was mentioned earlier. And then notice it's going to take me to this page. So let me go ahead and expand it. And then remember in one of those 6 steps, they talked about the LEAP 2025 practice test. And so you're going to click on the online tools training that's under here. This is the one where you need to go, the one that's under the LEAP 2025 practice test. Now, when I click on this, it's going to take me to either LEAP 2025 grades 3 through 8 or high school. So let's just go ahead and practice with grades 3 through 8. So I'm going to go ahead and click on grades 3 through 8. And then notice all these different courses that are available to practice with. So there's Spanish language, there's text to speech. So if you have accommodation that requires text to speech, then you would use this one. There is ELA. Now, there's social studies and there's science. And let me mention something. For LEAP 360, social studies and science is not part of LEAP 360, but you see it here because it is part of LEAP 2025. So the online tools training is used for both LEAP 360 and LEAP 2025. But for LEAP 360, we're only looking at math and ELA. So I'm going to go ahead and click on, let's say ELA first. So I'm going to go ahead and click on ELA, and then notice some grade levels up here. So let's go ahead and choose grade levels 4 through 5. And then the credentials you need to get into the OTT, see it says username and password, it's right here. It is not case sensitive in this case. So notice I can just do lowercase ELA just like this, and then 04. So 04 for grade 4. And then the password is TST1234. And then you'll notice that for all of the passwords for the OTT, the password's the same, test1234. So then you sign in, and when you sign in, you're going to see the welcome page. And then when you go to sign into LEAP 2025, the actual state test, or LEAP 360, you're going to get that same page. Your name will be located here. Your test session will be located here. Your school name will be located here. And LACID will be located here. And notice it says if the above information is correct, please select continue. If any of the above information is not correct, or if the color chooser is not available when the option button is clicked, then please raise your hand and notify your test administrator. So basically, since you're doing this at home, you're just going to have to notify your teacher via Messenger through Google Classroom. But before I go and click on continue, look at the options right here. Let's look at the options. So when I click on options, notice you have different color choices that you can use. So if I click on color choices, I can have my text in this color or green, well, the background rather, being in this color, and so on. So that's your background color. If I go back to, if somebody, go ahead and X out of here. If I go back to options and I look at contrasting color, and so notice you see this right here, the background color again. So these are, oh, and then the text. See, the text color changes as well. So the text with the background. So notice the text with the background colors do change. So let me go ahead and X out of this. So you can choose whichever one you want. So if you want to choose this right here, and then you continue for the remainder of that test, this is a color you will see. Now, if I go and let me go back to contrasting color and just go ahead and click white background. So I'm going to go ahead and go to options again, and then we're going to go to reverse contrast. Now, I don't know of any students that use this, but there could be. And notice I'm going to enable. And when I enable, this is what you see. So when you go to take your practice test or the LEAP 2025 test, the actual state test, this is what your pages will look like. So I'm going to go ahead and uncheck enable. So I'll go back to the original color, and then I'm going to go ahead and X out. So those are your options. So just keep in mind, now you want to fool around with this before the state test, because the state test, if you don't have any accommodations, the state test will be timed. So you do need to make sure you play around with these way ahead of time so you know which one you prefer. So I'm going to go ahead now and click on continue. So when I go to continue, notice that only grades 4 through 5 are showing up for ELA. So I'm going to go ahead and click on 4 through 5. And then, so then you make sure you go ahead and you read the directions. Always read the directions before you click next. If you go back to options though, so let's go back to options and let's see, you have the same situations again. All right, so if at some point you want to change the color, then just go ahead and change the color. So for instance, I'll do this. And then let me go to contrasting background. And so let me just go to and pick this one instead. So I'm going to go to next. And then notice that every page, the options is still there. So if I want to at some point change the color, I can do that. But just keep in mind that with time test, you are losing your time by going back and forth, changing all of these. So it's a good idea to determine way ahead of the actual state test which options you prefer. Okay, so make sure you read all this as you go through this. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on next. And then it says this test screen. The screen allows you to make sure your computer is ready for the online tools training. You should see three shaded circles below, and we do. And so let's go ahead and begin the test. Let's go ahead and begin the test. And so in ELA, you'll see some passages on the left and your questions on the right. So what I want you to do is make sure you practice with these tools that are up here. So hence, that's why it's called online tools training. So it's training you for the different tools that are available to help you go through these passages. And in math, the same way, you'll have some tools as well, and you'll see some other tools that are going to be available depending on the grade and also depending on the subject. So if I look at the line guide, so in the line guide, basically what that does is it helps you kind of, if you need it, it helps you kind of read a little bit better. So you see the line is underneath the sentence that you're reading. All right, and so that's what the line guide is. And so notice that it looks to only appear in the passage. So that's that it won't appear on the question part. It will only appear on the passage. Now also notice that there is a vertical bar. So the vertical bar, um, there's some more passages down there, some more paragraphs to this passage. So make sure you're aware of this vertical bar. Same thing here on this side, the vertical bar. Okay. All right, so that takes care of the line guide. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it to remove it. Now, if I go to, let's say, highlighter, so click on highlighter, it says use highlighter, so click on that, and notice that I can highlight certain passages or certain parts of each paragraph. And so you have the highlighter. If you want to stop using the highlighter, you just go back up here and you click on it. And okay, so let's see. So I don't want to clear all. Um, okay, so it seemed to have gone away. All right, so you use highlighter. Then I'm going to go ahead and, okay, go to pointer. All right, if you go to pointer, it takes the highlighter away. Okay, and if you want to clear all of it, you would just say clear all, and it goes away. All right, if you want to use it, again, you just highlight what you want to highlight, and then to get rid of this highlighter cursor that you see it's a cursor now. The highlight is your cursor. Just go ahead and use this right here to make it a pointer. So now it becomes a pointer. The X that you see here helps you cross out choices. So many students do use this. So they'll read the question and they'll say, well, this can't be it, so I'm going to cross this out. This can't be it, so I'll cross this out. And it kind of takes it away from your view. So it does help many students. Now, notice though, when I go to scroll down right here, that cross out is still there. So just know it's still there, so you can still use. You don't have to keep going back up here. So again, go to the next one. So well, that's obviously not going to be the answer. Same thing here, and so that's one of the purposes of this cross out. All right, and so I'm gonna click back on this, and then see so you can still see the cross on the pencil. So I'm gonna click on that, and it goes well. Go click on the pointer. I'm sorry, click on the pointer. All right. Now, the other thing I want to look at is this, a little sticky note. So basically, when you're reading a passage, you may want to make a little note to yourself. So notice what happens. So notice when I clicked the pointer here, it put the number one here for the first sticky note, and then you just type in whatever you want to remind yourself about. So just type something here. Um, so Okay, so then I'm going to X out, so that way it goes away, so I can see the rest of this. I'm going to exit out, and then notice you can move the the memo that you made to yourself. So you can move it here, you can move it anywhere you want to, and then if you need to make another one, you make another one. So let's say I read this and I got to make a note to myself. So this would be number 2, and you make a note. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and X out. And notice if I go back to number 1, click on number 1, and well, you have to double click. What you typed in shows up. You click on number 2, double click. What you typed shows up as well. Okay. All right. And then so I'm going to X out. So then there's the magnifying glass that's located here. And so basically, if what you have on the screen is too small and you want to magnify it, you get this. All right, now notice though, you only see this part of your screen. All right, so the horizontal bar down here, you see that horizontal bar? So there's a horizontal bar down here. So if you move the horizontal bar, you can get this part of the pass, or in this case, the questions. So notice the horizontal bars that are located here. And then you can scroll up by using this outer vertical bar. You can scroll down here in the center to read the remaining passages. So you have all kinds of options that you want to practice with before taking the state test. Okay? All right, and then notice, so let's go, so we talked about the tools that are available for this grade level. Depending on the grade level and depending on the content area, there are different tools that are available. Okay, so let's go ahead and answer some questions. Let's say I chose this one, and then let's say over here I chose this one. So then I'm going to go ahead and click on next. I'll go ahead and click on next. All right, now let's go to the next passage. So I do the same thing. So you have all these same tools available. You have all these paragraphs for this passage, and you have your questions. But then part A, let's say you were able to get very easily, but then part B, you were not. So you're having a little issue with part B. So you went to paragraph 4. So it says, which paragraph in the passage best supports the answer to part A? So you go into paragraph 4, which is here. So notice this is paragraph 4 that they're referring to. So you read it again. You go to paragraph 6, you read it again, and so on. But you're still not sure. So what you can do is flag it. So you can flag this. See, there's a flag right here. So I'm going to flag it to remind me that that's one of the questions I couldn't answer. So I'm going to come back to it at some point. So let's go to the next. I'm clicking on next, and then you go to the next question. So the next passage. Now notice that this passage requires you to write something. So here's your little text box right here. And so, so you just start typing something. Okay, so notice again, notice the vertical bars that are located there. So in this case, there were 2 passages for this writing response. So there's passage A, well, this passage here, and then your second passage was located further down right here. Okay, so make sure you use a vertical bar so you can see where it ends. Okay, and then you have your answer, then you go to next, and then you have some more questions to answer, and so on. Okay, so I'm just go ahead and just click something here in both the cases, uh, and then let's see, click to respond. Okay, so then there's some events and summary that you have to do. So you have to notice that this one here is a drag and drop. So you're going to click on these sentences here, and you're going to put them in the place where they need to go. So let's say this is going to be the last one that occurs, and then this one is the second one that occurred, and so on. Okay. All right. So you do have drag and drops, and there's an example of a drag and drop that is possibly on the state test. So then you say okay, and then you go to the next one. And then here you have another passage with a writing response. And again, you read the whole thing, you get to this point, and you're like, I'm not sure how to answer this. I'm gonna go ahead and flag it. So you're gonna click the flag button, and then you go to next. And then notice you have some word drag and drop. So you read the passage. It says drag and drop each word from the list. So you go ahead and you click, or you drag rather, where you think these words should go. And then you go to next. And then you read this, and again, you kind of for the next one, you're like, I know this is not it. I know this is not it, but I'm not sure what the answer is. So I'm going to go ahead and flag it. And you continue on. Okay. So I'm going to quickly continue to the final part. And then notice you have your questions here that there are three that are flagged. And obviously there were some that were not answered, but I just wanted you to see what the flags look like. And so you're going to go back and you're going to either click on here and it brings you back to that question. You saw that? And you're going to now answer your question. So you're going to say, okay, I think it's B. All right. So then another thing you can do is here. See right here, the little drop-down menu? If you click on that, it lists all of your questions here. So you now have 6 and 8 that are flagged. Okay, so there's a box there. I kind of hovered over it, so it kind of went away. But notice that 6 and 8 are flagged. So if you click on 6, it'll bring you to question 6. And so you start typing something. So you start typing. All right, and then you can go back to here, the little drop down, and then go to question 8. And then you're like, okay, I think this is it. Okay, so then I'm going to go back up here, and let's see, it looks like number 9 was an answer, so I'm going to click on number 9, and so I'm going to start answering number 9. So let's go back up here, and let's see what I still haven't done. Okay, I have 9, 10 wasn't answered, so I go and answer 10. All right, and so these are your tools. So those are the tools. You have a flag here. You can review. So if you go and review, so click on review, you go back to here and you'll notice that, hey, I still have number 11 that's not answered. See the little check marks implies that those were answered. So you just see where it's highlighted, just clicked on it, and you go back and you say, okay, I got to answer these. So that looks good. Let me go to this one and kind of select 2 sentences from the story that shows how the woman changes to agree with the rabbi. So let's say this is it you chose, and this is it. You could use the erase. See, there's an eraser here, so you're gonna reset all, and you're gonna say, okay, well, it's this one and this sentence, and let's say it's this sentence here. All right, so you actually have to pick sentences in there, and then notice if you click on 3 of them, it'll say you have reached the maximum number of sentences, and you say okay, and then you just actually you can just see what I did. You just click on it and it goes away. This will delete all of them. So you'll say, okay, both of them are wrong. I'm just going to go ahead and take them all away. And then you say, I think it's this sentence and this sentence here, and then you're done. Okay, and so you now have all the questions answered, and then you end your test. So you go to end test right here, and then it'll say stop. You have answered all your questions. To check or change your answer, select return to review. To turn in your test, select submit. So let's go ahead and select submit, and then to restart the online tools training, click the test link below. To exit the online tools training, click the exit button. So let's go ahead and go back to the restart the online tools training for grades 3 through 4. Let's see if we can get to a math. So I want to go to math. Okay, that's not going to be it. It sends me back to the English, to ELA. So I'm going to go ahead and exit. So I'm going to say yes, exit. All right, so I'm going to go back now. Let's see, remember this back button that they talked about? So let's go to this back button right here. And that's going to bring me back to the 2 grade levels right here. So let's go back to grades 3 through 8. This time I want to choose math. And this time let's choose grade 8 math. And so when I go to grade 8 math, remember the username and password. So let's click on the username and password. So math 08E. And then test 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's go ahead and sign in. And then remember, you have the same information. You have your same options. If you want to remember your color choices, contrasting color, reverse contrast, all of that's the same. Okay, so let me go ahead and click on grade 8. And then we're going to go to next. Remember, you still have your options here. Let's go to next. Let's begin the test. Now, what I want you to do here was just talk about the different tools that are available for math. So notice that the first 5 are the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The first 6 are the same as ELA. Notice, though, that in math, you have the measuring tools and you have your reference. So since you're online at home, the teacher will not be providing you with a reference sheet. So some students call it the formula sheet. So you're just going to have to click on here. So notice here, if I click on it, the reference sheet shows up for grade 8 math. And if I want to get rid of it, see it's covering important information. So you just X out and you start answering the question. So again, every time you need the reference sheet, you just click on it. Okay, every time you need the reference sheet, you click on it. Now, let me mention something about the measuring tools. So there's the ruler in inches and the ruler in centimeters. So if I go to the ruler in inches, you see this 6-inch ruler. So notice that these little curved arrows here allows you to move it. See, you can move it counterclockwise or clockwise. Now, if you want to move it up and down, you just do this. So you just take your cursor and you go up and down, just like this. Okay? And if you go to the centimeter ruler, notice the centimeter ruler shows up. And so again, you can move it clockwise or counterclockwise. You can move it up or down, and so on. All right, so those are the math tools that are available for grade 8. Now, there's also a protractor tool that's available, but it's not for grade 8. It's for one of the other grades. All right, and so those are your tools that are available. And so you just X out and you start and you just answer your questions. And so that's the math tools. Okay. Now notice in math there's some drop down questions. So again, just make sure you're practicing with this so you know how to deal with this. And so notice there are parts A and B, and so on. All right, so you just answer some questions, you go on. And again, notice a flag. You can flag them. If you're not sure of the answer, go to the next. Remember your little cross out right here, cross off. So you can cross these off and say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and use a pointer now. And I think this is the answer, so I'm going to use this. And then go to the next one. And then notice that many of the items in math you're going to have to put in numbers. So again, I'm just making up some numbers here. So this is 23 divided by 8, which is not correct. And then you go to the next one. All right. And then notice a calculator shows up right here. So notice there's a calculator. See, the calculator showed up in this item. So notice this is a in the early grades, it's going to be a 4-function calculator. In this case, you have a scientific calculator. And then algebra and geometry, if you were going to take algebra and geometry, they would also have available for you a ground line graphing calculator. So you have a scientific calculator here. All right, so just make sure you can use the online if that's what you're using. Now, you have the ability to use your own calculator, a handheld calculator, if you need to. But just know that if you don't have access to a handheld calculator, the online one is available. You just need to practice with it to know how to use the different buttons that are available. So let's go into the next one and see if any other tools will show up. So it looks like, and notice there's a lot of equation editors in here that you have to deal with. Okay, so that's why it's important. It's important that you practice with the online tools training. All right, and so that's about all I wanted to do with this, was to just get you acquainted to what can I do with the online tools training? What is its purpose? How is it important to me? And hopefully this tutorial explained it to that extent. So that should take care of what I wanted to discuss. I'm just quickly going through here just to see if there's anything else. Oh, let me go to this. So there is a way. See how this grid right here looks tiny? So there's a way. See, I clicked on it, it made it bigger. So if you click on it, and so that's why you need to. It says click to respond. So that's why you need to make sure you're practicing with these different tools that are available, so you know how to use them when you actually take the state test. Okay. All right. So that's going to end this online tools training. If you have any questions about it, just ask your school's teacher, and your school's teacher will help you with these. Okay, so that is going to take care of this part.